Getting revenge on my sister for wearing the wrong color to my wedding. Story: I, 30s F, got married to my husband, 30s M, this July. Our wedding theme was fairy court. We only invited close family and friends and asked that they wear jewel-toned dresses and suit jackets. The wedding was in a sort of forest. We also took photos with almost everyone, not just the wedding party, which only consisted of a best man and a maid of honor. My Sil, mid-20s, shows up in a blush pink dress and her boyfriend in a cream suit jacket. She thought that would make her pop, I guess. She is an attention seeker, by testimony of everyone but her mom. Joke on her. My dress was gold and shimmery, and my husband was in an emerald green jacket. Also, I was wearing a full-on crown. No mistaking who the bride was. When the photographer asked me if she should Photoshop them a bit to make them blend in more, since we went with a dramatic photo style that emphasized the deep jewel tones and the darkness of the forest, I told her not to bother, make them look nice, but don't change the colors or anything like that. Well, I received the photos 4 days ago. I posted some on my Insta and most on Facebook, since most of our older relatives use it exclusively, and they, SIL and boyfriend, looked so out of place, they were almost washed out. Then she had the nerve to comment on my post. It was very passive-aggressive, something along the lines of washing her out to make myself stand out more. I replied by saying that she washed herself out by ignoring the wedding theme. She deleted her comment. But then we met last night at my in-laws. It was an accident, not planned or anything. She said pretty much the same thing. I repeated that she was washed out because the photo style we chose emphasized deep colors. That's why we asked people to wear jewel tones. It escalated and ended up with me telling her that she looked like crap in our photos, her complaint. Because she was a jealous little woman who thought she could upstage me with a $30 dress the color of diluted Pepto. She started crying and left. Now my mother-in-law says I owe SIL an apology for publicly shaming her, and well as for insulting her looks. So am I the a-hole? Response 1, NTAA. You did not insult her looks. You told her that the color of her dress was a bad choice, and that you were aware she chose it to stand out from everyone else. B, you already told them the dress code, and they chose to do their own thing. Whilst I'm not necessarily for imposed dress codes at weddings outside of the regular expectations, smart/smart casual/cocktail black or white tie and no white laugh out loud, the fact that they look washed out in the photos is down to their choice of clothing, not the photographs or the photographer or you. Reply 1. Themed weddings should be an exception. When you do a themed wedding, especially a small one like OP stated, asking guests to wear jewel tones to go with the theme makes sense. OP didn't force Sil and boyfriend to leave because they didn't wear it, she just let natural consequences happen. Reply 2. And jeweled tones give the guests a lot of options. Any rich color, red, blue, green, yellow, including a rich pink, would have worked. That's not an insane dress code. Reply 3. I would have screwed this up as a guest. The dress, as described, is exactly what I thought jewel tone meant. Reply 4. Weddings are just big parties celebrating a marriage. If someone invited you to a costume party and you decided to wear your normal clothes, you shouldn't be shocked when you stand out in every picture. Same thing, a themed wedding is just a type of costume party. Either get with the program or don't go to the party. Reply 5. Right. She didn't kick her out or make a scene. She just told the photographer not to alter the clothing Sul and brother-in-law chose to wear. Response 2, NTA. She effed around and found out. Sil and her boyfriend tried upstaging you and your husband at your own wedding. The photographer offered to Photoshop them, and you refused on the grounds that the photos remain honest. You didn't do anything wrong. Don't apologize to what appears to be the golden child. She'll eventually stop talking to you altogether, so that's a win-win. Congratulations on your wedding. Reply 1. Also, I'd wager a bet that if she had photoshopped the dress, Seal would still be upset and offended and create drama over it, because that's what Seal wanted the whole time, was to create drama. Response 3, NTA. She chose what to wear knowing full well what the theme was and what people were asked to wear. She should have realized on her own whether she would stand out in a good way or a bad way. But hey, she got her wish. She stands out from everybody else. Response 4. E-E-E-H. All of you adults, I'll remind you. Why is everyone making a big deal of such petty details for something that was meant to be a big happy occasion? Collectively move the fae on. Reply 1. Nice pun. Like I said, I didn't make a big deal of it. I didn't even mention her, nor did I post only her photos. But I am not the type to let comments slide. And I didn't like her insinuating that I asked our photographer to make her look bad on purpose, to make myself feel better. Reply 2. Yeah, this is it for me. She isn't just complaining that she doesn't look good in your wedding photos where she really shouldn't be a factor. She is accusing you of having some sort of weird complex about her. I'd be offended too if someone accused me of having them photoshopped because I am so jealous of their otherwise exquisite appearance I just couldn't stand it. Reply 3. NTA, your wedding sounds awesome, and I'm sure everything was gorgeous. You didn't complain about her not following rules, didn't ask her to leave, and specifically told the photographer not to change how they looked. You didn't do anything wrong. Syl tried to steal the spotlight and failed, and any washing out or looking awkward in the photos is on her, not on you. I wouldn't apologize, and if mother-in-law keeps insisting, tell her that her daughter caused the problems herself, and you didn't publicly shame her, you just responded with the truth. Tell mother-in-law if she wants to see what public shaming is, you'll gladly post on social media about SIL actively trying to pull a focus and your wedding and how she's taking out her poor dress choice on you when you had nothing to do with it. Maybe then she'll see what real public shaming is. Edit. Fixed a typo. Reply 4. My ex and I had a pretty meh marriage, but I was always proud of the wedding, which was focused on being a thank you and a good time for our friends and family. Apparently we did it wrong, and it was a huge social faux pas for it to be anything but a massive exercise in narcissism and one-upsmanship. I guess that's why our marriage was meh. The gods punished us. Reply 5. I can one-up you. Laugh out loud. Years after we divorced, my ex-husband called me up and said he figured out why our marriage was destined to fail. He found out the pastor that married us, his BFF's brother, had just been put in the Fed pen for molesting children. He said, "See, none of it was either of our fault. We can both sleep great tonight." I'm glad the guy got caught / went to prison. I hope he's still there. Response 5. Her plan was to draw attention to her with her pinky poo dress and her boyfriend in off-white. Instead, she and boyfriend looked washed out and out of place. Her plan not only didn't make her look like the coolest thing ever. She looked foolish. Yeah, your insults were a bit much, but she created this mess. You just commented on the mess. Response 6. Info. I had to look up color palettes for jewel tone, and some of them included pale pink and purple. Are you 100% sure she knew the definition? Did you give her samples to choose from? Reply 1. Jewel tones are commonly understood to be deep, richly saturated tones, not pale by any measure. Just because a palette says it's jewel tones doesn't mean all the colors are. Reply 2. I'm not gonna lie. When I read this post, I had no idea what jewel tones meant. I came to the comments hoping for clarification, and I'm in my 30s. Thinking about the colors of actual jewels didn't occur to me, so maybe they genuinely thought they understood the theme, are on a budget, so went with the closest they could get that they owned. I also don't get why OP thought blush pink was an attempt to upstage the bride. Pink isn't white. Or gold. Reply 3. While I know that jewel tones usual mean darker colors in this tone, I would definitely add the word deep or rich to it, just to ensure people wouldn't read jewels equal sign any gem, especially because some of them are quite light. Most my jewels have paler gems, for instance. However, blush pink is probably a no-no in most modern weddings anyway, as it's one of those colors that can photograph as white very easily. Reply 4. I had no idea what jewel tones meant. I would look at my imaginary ring box and see opals, pale lilac sapphires, delicate pink diamonds. Reply 5. Commonly understood by who? I just looked it up too, and there's a lot of different interpretations of jewel tones. OP could have sent a color palette insert. Response 7. Esh! Holy crap, do y'all not have anything real to worry about? When you complicate the dress code to tell people what colors to wear, not everyone is going to comply. You had the choice to be gracious about it. She had the choice to shut up and not complain about how she looked in pictures that probably won't see the light of day after you settle into married life. Instead, you both chose to indulge in mean girl energy, last seen in the 7th grade cafeteria. Absolutely no one is going to remember or care what anyone wore to your wedding once those pictures stop making the rounds on social media. Both of you need to calm the egos, and you need to remember what the day is supposed to be about. A celebration of marriage, not a meltdown over a dress. You owe each other an apology. No winners here. Reply 1. OP didn't melt down over a dress. As far as we know, they said nothing to the SIL about what she wore until she pointed it out that she looked bad in the pictures. Sil chose not to match the theme and therefore didn't look good in the pictures styled the way the bride and groom paid for. Reply 2. My Sil, mid-20s, shows up in a blush pink dress and her boyfriend in a cream suit jacket. She thought that would make her pop, I guess. She is an attention seeker, by testimony of everyone but her mom. Joke on her, my dress was gold and shimmery, and my husband was in an emerald green jacket. Also, I was wearing a full-on crown, no mistaking who the bride was. That this is how she chose to describe the incident tells me that she was a lot more peeved about this than you are suggesting. That paragraph was painful to read, it's so petty and mean. That she even entertained the SIL's online antics and didn't just roll her eyes and move on with her life tells me it really mattered to her. When that fight escalated, the bride showed who she really was. She didn't hold back. So, yes, it's a meltdown over a dress on everyone's part. Reply 3, yeah, I cringed reading that. It's like a soap opera plotline about catty women. So, stereotypical catfighting over dresses. Like, it's her wedding. It should be obvious who the bride is. Everyone there got an invitation. Invitations these days come with photos. And it's weird if a close and intimate party includes people that OP never met before. And they certainly wouldn't mistake the groom's sister for the bride. It's absurd imagining that anyone is going to be confused about who the bride is. I feel like OP had the opportunity to be the bigger person here and frame it as Sil showed up out of dress code and then complains about the photos making her look out of place instead of Sil is trying to upstage me at my own wedding. Because I'm the princess. Me, I am. Please reassure me I'm the princess. Response 8. NTA. She wouldn't shut up on her own, so you helped her. And this isn't publicly shaming her. It was in the privacy of your in-laws. Publicly shaming her would be to post the whole drama on Facebook, asking for family and friends to chime in on if you are TA for her decision to not follow dress code. But I'm not nice either. Reply 1. Yeah, and if they're insinuating that posting the pictures is public shaming, well, Sayal did that to herself. Response 9. ESH, you didn't do anything wrong with the photos, but the way you talk about her makes you an absolute a-hole. Reply 1. I agree. OP says she doesn't care, but the contempt with which she describes her SIL suggests otherwise. Reply 2. If someone makes an internet post about an event and then tells you that they don't care, they obviously care because they went out of their way to complain about it in the first place. Response 10. Fairy court? Like the colors the fairies might wear? Pinks, lavender, light blue? If I was decorating my house and used jewel tones, it would be deep reds, greens, and blues, but fairy court jewel tones? Pink sapphire and rose quartz would be appropriate along with amethyst and blue sapphire. Sil probably misunderstood the color choices. And can everyone afford to purchase an outfit to attend a wedding, not part of the ceremony? Pretty much all photos done by a wedding photographer are retouched. There's a range of tones that can be chosen to improve a photo. Lighten up if faces are in shadow. Darken it if sun has washed out colors. No doubt your photographer wanted you to look best and adjusted tones based on the gold and green you two were wearing. And Sil may have looked washed out because of this. She shouldn't have posted a comment on this. Just fact of life. The bride and groom get all the glory on their day and memorabilia from that day. But you did shame her for the mistake she made on color choice based on what she thought was fairy court jewel colors, sapphire pink, red quartz, amethyst, blue sapphire. Reply 1. Fairy court? Like the colors the fairies might wear? Pinks, lavender, light blue? Glad I wasn't the only one confused on this. Reply 2. Yeah, my first thought went to pinks and lavenders. There should have been a much clearer description of colors provided. Or what if the SIL didn't have the budget to purchase more appropriate clothing? lot of factors go into this, but all we are told is that the CL is an attention seeker. OP seems really up in distress about what the CL wore. She was also quite snarky when describing Sil, which makes me think she hated her guts to begin with. This was just the tip of the iceberg to pop off and treat her badly, in my opinion. Really surprised how many people are saying not the a-hole. Reply 3. The fact that she thought someone might think the sister of the groom is actually the bride because she wore a lighter color is just crazy. Also, any decent photographer could have made them both look good in the photo. Response 11. ESH. Jewel tones? Like people have that specific thing lying around in their closet? In this economy? You all sound exhausting and petty. Her blush pink may have been a bid for attention, or she may have been trying to find something that worked for this tiresome-sounding theme. Either way, you definitely handled it poorly. This is one I'd love to hear the other side of the story on. Response 12. This is too funny. Thank you for giving me a laugh, not the a-hole. Please continue posting your wedding photos anywhere and everywhere exactly as they are. Do not apologize to anyone. Your mother-in-law is out of line here. She should have told the SIL to be quiet. The SIL threw a tantrum and you put her in her place. Well done. If you apologize, it sets a precedent that SIL throws her weight around and you'll be pressured to apologize. Also, those saying they are your ILs and you should do it because it's a long-term relationship, blah blah. Well, guess what? It's a two-way thing. And it's not just on you. They need to make compromises and adjustments too. I bet if you had been the one to not follow SIL's dress code, the mother-in-law would be telling you to apologize. So why isn't she asking that of her daughter? Response 13, EH. This American obsession with color-coded weddings seems basically designed to produce outcomes like this. I find these kind of family dramas trivial and effing annoying, and everyone in this story bears some responsibility for the nonsense that ensued. Reply 1. ESH. I don't think I know of a single themed wedding amongst any of my family or friends. Sounds like a very bizarre custom in my opinion. It's your wedding, but it's not a reason for forcing people into buying outfits. Disclaimer. Am not American. Response. 14. ESH. I wouldn't say you publicly shamed her by posting those pics. She should have messaged you privately instead of making it a public dispute. If it were me, I'd immediately understand why I didn't look the same as the others in edited pics, where I wore a shade very different to everybody else. And to be honest, I'd probably just feel a bit embarrassed, but know it was on me, so I wouldn't complain or make a fuss about it. But you could have worded it very differently, and in my opinion, you acted immaturely. Obviously, you can do whatever you want with your wedding pictures, but why not just let her be edited to make it look nicer for you to look at for the rest of your life? Now, you'll also always be reminded that she stood out, on purpose or not, at your wedding. And in my opinion, your insult to her was immature as well. We don't always have to be the bigger person when someone does us wrong. Sometimes being the bigger person can harm us in the end, but everyone in this story sound immature to me. Edited to add info. Do you know if she's in a position to afford a new dress in your dress code? She's in her mid-20s, an age where many people today wouldn't be able to afford a nice new dress for an event, which is also why your comment about how cheap it was sounds, Response 15. NTA. She effed around and found out. She publicly humiliated herself. All you did was post the photos. Response 16. ESH. She didn't follow your dress code, but wearing blush pink to a wedding seems like a relatively minor faux pas. Definitely seems like you don't like your Sil. Then she complains, twice, about not liking how she looks in the photos, so tacky of her to complain, and you sunk to her level by insulting what she wore. The non-asshole response would be to simply assure her she looks lovely in the photos. Yes, you were rude and should apologize. She sounds annoying, but we all have at least one or two in-laws that are going to be annoying at times. Reply 1. Exactly. OP even states no mistaking who the bride was, almost like it's on the same level as a guest wearing white to a wedding. Wearing blush pink seems pretty innocuous to me, but the OP seems dead set that she was attempting to be upstaged. The seal didn't have to make such a big deal about the pictures either, but it seems like OP was kind of waiting for an argument. Everyone sucks here indeed. Both parties are immature. Response 17. Pretty rich you're being accused of publicly shaming her when she chose to post on social media and you kept it private. Is your brother the favorite? Your mom should be supporting you, not the person who married into the family. Reply 1. I think you are mistaken. OP was the one who married into the family, and she posted the pictures of social media, which is her right, as those were her wedding pictures. Not the a-hole OP response, 18 NTA. She kept bringing it up. First online and then starting in with you to your face. You just finished a fight that she was never going to win. Response 19. ESH. While it's hard to imagine anyone working too hard to upstage a fairy wedding, why bother? I think OP needs to get over herself too. Anytime there is a theme wedding, it's usually going to result in someone being the a-hole. If not the couple for making life hard for every guest, it will be a guest not paying attention. For all the single people out there, do your wedding and reception and hotel at one location. Have an open bar? Clearly explain whether kids are allowed or not. Put your guests first. And realize this day is 0.0001% of your marriage. Grow up. Get married. It's not that hard. Response 20. YTA. I don't think your theme was very clear. I don't understand the problem with a rose gold/cream attire for Jewel. Though this could be me not understanding something very simple.